Hi, in this first episode of Operational Excellence, I will tell you a little bit about how all the puzzle pieces comes together to be one system that really can change your business. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Johan Mylab. I'm the founder and CEO of Lean Dimensions International. I want to show you a model here that has become somewhat of our trademark. Because often when we talk about operational excellence, world-class manufacturing, lean thinking, etc., if you ask somebody who's into it and ask them to explain everything as one system, they often struggle with that. And you can see that as a reflection in businesses that the persons who are in charge are often engineers who are promoted into a position to then lead the implementation of a continuous improvement of some sort. There's a backside to that everything becomes technical. We really believe that IQ times EQ becomes unity and results. So think about that. It's about technical aspects as well as emotional aspects that actually generate the results. Companies who are successful have managed to address the emotional side of people to really bond them with the system. And that's the point. It's a system. It's not a set of tools, which it often shows up to be when you are asking engineers to drive it. No offense to engineers, I'm an engineer myself, at least a recovering engineer. But the point is this, that if you look at it as it's a nice toolbox that you can use whenever you like to, people choose to opt out more often than not. And it's not a toolbox really, it's a way of thinking and living and acting in a business. So let me take you through this model here. And as you know, there's no models are perfect, but some are useful. And we found this to be quite useful in the interaction and explanation of the operational excellence system, whatever you would call it where you work. Or maybe I could say where you want to call it maybe as well, because a lot of companies have not really started to build a system, they have started to train people in tools and they don't hang together. You'd be surprised how much easier it is for people when they see a picture of things that hangs together and suddenly they look, you kind of know what's going on. And you can see that everywhere in life, I guess, but especially here when there's a lot of puzzle pieces everywhere and suddenly there's a picture. It's not too bad. So anyways, as you can see, this drawing here has three sides to it. One side on the right hand here is what we call working on the business. It's about disassociating yourself from the content of the work to be able to look at the processes and see if they are meeting your requirements or not. And think about it like this, I call it watch the family, watch the movie. Like, so if you sit with your family watching a movie, you're going to see the movie. If you sit behind your family watching them when they're chewing their way or having a drink, whatever, you will know what happened to them. And once in a while, you need to do that. You need to back away and watch people working so that you understand what is really going on. That is working on the business. But having said that, it starts with a management team or a steering committee, whatever you want to call it, and they need to set a clear direction where they want to go. If people don't know where we are heading, they don't really know what they're going to leave behind. Like, does that make sense? If you know where you're going, you know that we're building this. Well, after you're done with whatever work you're doing, this has to be in place then. So what is that? Well, that is what you learn when you run this system, that you need to leave something in place that kind of build the operational system forward. Often you have a team of people who analyzes the business in different parts. It's very hard to analyze everything in one go. So you can split it up in smaller teams. In some systems like world-class manufacturing, etc., it's called pillars. You have other names in other systems. But if you think about it as a team that takes time out, they're going to now back away, watch the family, watch the movie, and they might concentrate only on quality or maintenance-related issues or industrial engineering issues or production flow issues, etc. Right? So you concentrate on different parts. This means that if you set up a clear direction where you want to go, a vision, let's say, this team of people could say, okay, here's why we're not there yet, right? So they analyze that. They do something, it's called loss intelligence in our lingo. But they understand that. Then they launch improvement teams, you can call it Kaizen teams, improvement teams, continuous improvement teams, whatever you want to call it. But there are teams of people, and it's important to be a team of people, because here's one thing that happens in businesses. We are today so disconnected from each other, from different functions in a business and different layers in the company, that if we never come together to learn from each other, the disconnection stays. And that is the difference that makes the difference, right? So if you are connected to each other and you're more unified, you're gonna get the result. And two brains are smarter than one. That's how it is. So you put the team together and they then come up with some type of output. The problem here is that when you work on the business, it's like putting a ball here up and it rolls downhill, and it comes down to this point, they're going to go out to outer space, never to be seen again, right? And that happens to a lot. So people run projects and they promote them, they show people, whatever, but they're never really sustained. And everybody knows that. I mean, seriously, we know how often that happens. Why is that? Because we never thought about holding the gains. We normally point at people and say, you are supposed to do it. You know, that is also creating disconnections. So how do you create a system to hold the gains? Well, in the bottom of this triangle is what we call the ownership transformation. It's about transformation in general, to transforming the culture, which is important, and the knowledge and capabilities of the people, to build processes, to create value, to bring results. But it's also about taking the output from teams and handing it over to the line organization. So this has to be designed, right? Not to be forgotten, because then all the work you've done here is going to be wasted soon. So on this side, it's what we call working in the business. So every day when you're working, you could potentially use the thought process of operational excellence. And what I mean with that is, the only thing you can affect when you are working and to change the output, there are two things. Good news is not 200 things, but there are still two. You can add time. So if you want to have more output, a lot of companies add time, so we have overtime, right? And in the short term, it's nice, maybe you make a little bit more money. In the long term, you're also sacrificing home life and stuff like that, and maybe health for people. So nobody really wants that, plus it costs you more money. But you can add time still. So every person, from the CEO down to an operator or any direction in a company, can add time normally. The second thing you can do is you can reduce your losses. And the definition of a loss is everything outside of ideal. So if you can do something in an ideal way, you have no losses, that's the fastest you can go. So if you can get it down to zero loss, which should be your target, to be honest. Why would you target to have some losses left? It doesn't make sense. It might be hard to reach, and sometimes impossible, I do understand that, but it's good to be unreasonable at times, I think. Anyway, you aim for something like that to reduce the losses. That's the fastest you can go. Right amount of time, no losses, maximum output. That's it. So this means that if you work in an area and you don't know the losses you have, you cannot minimize them, which means you need help of these guys maybe to analyze it. But where you're working also, it's good to practice, to get new eyes, to see the world with new eyes, to see where the losses are. If you don't know your losses, you actually don't know your business, I would argue. Because imagine if you have a 50% output of a machine, 50% of the time people are spending is our losses. So if you don't know them, you actually don't really know your area, would you say? So you need to get those eyes and learn what is really right or wrong. Like when you walk into a meeting as a leader, for example, you pass through a production area. Did you walk without looking, or did you actually see what's going on around you? Because if you see it, you can see a lot of losses that you could potentially address at one point. I see this as a bunch of candles on a table. They're burning, you put your hand on top of it, it's like, ow! And some people, they like that, crazy. Anyway, so you burn yourself every day on the same candle, right? And on Friday, you know that, guess what's gonna happen on Monday? I'm gonna burn myself again. Like, really? How do you live with that? Exhausting just to think about. And the next week is going to be another candle as well you're going to burn yourself on. So in the performance control system world, which is this side, working in the business, it's all about understanding what losses you have and attack them to create the output. It's not focusing on the output, because you can't focus on that. It's like focusing on the gross profit of United States, right? How do you do that? You focus on something you can actually do something about. So operators on shifts are meeting, you summarize on days, you have trends, you see where you're going, so you know if you're getting better or worse, do we need to do something? And what is actually sabotaging our shifts every day, you can see trends in the week and then attack that once a week. And then on every month you will add money to it. So that creates working on the business, transformation working in the business. That is operational excellence, that is world-class manufacturing, that is lean thinking, that's the system. The core is plan, do, check, act. And I know that people say, no, it's DMAIC or 8D or A3, whatever. Think about it like this. It doesn't have to be that complicated. If you're going to train people and you have PDCA, you understand that, you're going to be pretty good, in good shape. You could see also and argue that all the other systems are linked to PDCA. So maybe you don't agree, so let me know if you don't, but the thing is that there's a mindset of following a process is more effective than argue which one. Right? You have good leadership of managing change, loss intelligence, loss eradication, and loss prevention. And prevention means holding the gains, but also making sure that the problems you have designed into your own process, because guess who did that? It was you. They don't stop coming in, but somebody has to stop and act differently when they launch new machines and new products and new people into the process. That has to stop. So that a part of this analyzing is also learning what type of problems do we constantly generate into our own business. Okay, so this is the operational excellence system. We call it operational excellence 2.0 for the reason that we think that the heart has to be involved. It's not only the brain. And if you think about that, the start to bring the heart in, the passion, is to make sure people can see that this is one system and not a toolbox. IQ times EQ equals unity, which gives the results. One system, success. Like and share this video, please. Send an email and talk to me about that. You need to discuss it with somebody if you have interest in this, because how do you get started? Not that easy to know if you haven't done it a lot. We have done that a lot. Thank you so much for listening.